Yo, what's good everyone? Today I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite tournament or GPP plays for this Week 11 NFL Draftkings main slate, and like I always do here on this video, I'm going to kick it off with a couple of my favorite game stacks, and then we'll dive into some of my favorite individual plays and stacks. With that being said, let's hop right into this. And we're going to kick things off here with a couple of game stacks that I like. First being this game between the Lions and Bears, and I like stacking up Justin Fields with DJ Moore, and then running it back with David Montgomery and Sam Laporta. Now, let's start on the Lions side of things here, because there's obviously a number of routes that we could go. You could put in Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, who's been playing very well as of late, or more of a boom-bust play like a Jameson Williams. But I like David Montgomery here. For starters, he's been awesome in this offense all year long when healthy, but we also have the revenge narrative there against his former team in the Chicago Bears, so that's why I like him. I think he finds the end zone this week, could very well score 2+ touchdowns in this game. And then Sam Laporta, I like the matchup in general against that Bears defense. We know the upside that he's shown this year as well, kind of pivoting off of Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is likely going to be popular here in Week 11. Now, on the Bears side of things here, I hate to use stats from last year, but Justin Fields tore this defense up, particularly running the ball. He had 132 rushing yards and 147 rushing yards in his two games versus this Lions defense. Again, I understand it's a different Lions defense this year, but if the Bears are smart, they're going to put together a similar game plan that allowed him to do that last year. And putting in DJ Moore here makes sense as well. His splits have been night and day difference when Justin Fields is in the lineup. With Fields in the lineup, he has 5.3 receptions, 97 receiving yards, close to 1 touchdown, and 20.5 DraftKings points per game. And then another game stack that I like here this week is that game between the Cardinals and Texans. Now, this game here is going to be a popular one to target in general, and I like keeping my stack simple with Kyler Murray, Trey McBride, and then running it back with Tank Dell, with the understanding those guys are probably going to be popular, and I'm going to need to differentiate the rest of my lineup, find 2 or 3 guys who are lower owned on the tournament side of things. But this game, just like that one between the Lions and Bears, has an implied total of 48 points that leads the main slate, and I just like the matchup on both sides of this game. For starters, Kyler looked good in his first game back coming from the IR last week. That shouldn't be a concern, especially considering he was running the ball, had 33 rushing yards, scored a rushing touchdown. But this matchup here for McBride, I don't know if it could be better. This Texans defense has allowed the second most DraftKings points per game to tight ends this year and the 5th most receiving yards. And on the other side here, Tank Dell has been very good versus cover 4 defense, ranking 7 of 135 qualified wide receivers, and this Cardinals defense runs cover 4 at more than 2x the league average. Now, folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays and stacks here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. We're trying to get Slydog Sports here to 4,000 subs by the end of the year. I understand that's a lofty goal, but if you haven't subbed yet and you can do so here today, again, I would really appreciate that. Alright, now diving into the individual play side of things here, another quarterback that I like this week is Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars, priced at $6,000 in a good matchup at home against the Tennessee Titans, where we would need 24 DraftKings points for him to hit 4x value. And I'm well aware that T-Law has not been great this year, hasn't had a game of 3+ touchdowns, but this could be the get-right spot for him. The Jags are implied to score 23.5 points in this game, 3+ touchdowns, and this Titans defense is very good against the run, not good at all against the pass, ranking 4th overall against the run and 27th versus the pass, and they've allowed 21.8 DraftKings points per game to opposing quarterbacks this year, ranking 21st out of 32. Now, moving over here to the running backs, and yes, I am going to go back to the well here with Tony Pollard to the Dallas Cowboys, and if you don't want to go that route, if you're burnt out with this play, I completely understand it, but let me explain why I like it. For starters, he's priced at $6,600 on DraftKings this week. It's the cheapest he's been all year long, in probably the best matchup he's going to see all year long against this Carolina Panthers defense. Now, we need 26.4 DraftKings points for him to hit 4x value at this price, and again, we all know that Pollard's been disappointing this year, and ever since the bye, this Cowboys passing game has been on fire. Why would you want to get away from that if you are the Cowboys? But I look at this spot here, here against the Carolina defense, who have not been able to stop the run all year long, ranking 31st overall in defensive rush DVOA, while allowing 33.5 DraftKings points per game to the position. That's the fourth most in the NFL. So considering the price drop and the matchup, yes, I'm going back to him in tournaments, but again, if you don't want to go this route, I completely understand. And then another running back that I like at the same price here, $6,600, is Devon Achane of the Miami Dolphins. He is back here this week in a good matchup at home against the Las Vegas Raiders, where we would again need 26.4 DraftKings points for him to hit 4x value. We know what this rookie has done this year. In 3 full games, he's gone for 100 plus rushing yards in every one of those games, scoring 5 touchdowns, hitting 25.5, 30, and 54 DraftKings points. And again, this is a good matchup at home for him to get back on track. This Raiders defense ranks 27th overall in defensive rush DVOA, allowing 27.5 DraftKings points per game to the position. That's the 7th most in the NFL. And then I got a few wide receivers here for you. First being Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams, priced at $8,100 this week. Another guy who got a price discount and a decent matchup at home here against the Seattle Seahawks, where we would need 32.4 DraftKings points for him to hit 4x value. Now I look at the numbers here with Matthew Stafford. Kupp has a 30% target share, 42% air yard share, 38% first read share, with 3.31 yards per route run. Really like those numbers. And I mentioned this is a decent matchup here against Seattle. They have been much better against wide receivers as of late, but if we look at the numbers on the season here, this is still the defense that's allowed 78 DraftKings points per game to wide receivers. That's the most in the NFL. Now, when it comes to stacking someone up with Trevor Lawrence this week, I like Christian Kirk here at $6,000. I was trying to find a reason to go to Calvin Ridley, but I do like the matchup better for Kirk. You could go with Evan Ingram as well at the tight end position, but Kirk at $6,000, his price just isn't changing, and I don't know why. He could easily be priced in the upper 6K range based off of how he's played this year. At this price, we need 24 DraftKings points for him to hit 4x value. This is a guy who's got a 22% target share, 29% air yard share, and a 25% first read share. And this Titans defense, as I mentioned earlier, has really struggled against the pass. That's kind of been the case here for the last few seasons with them. They rank 27th overall in defensive pass DVOA, while allowing 53.1 DraftKings points per game to wide receivers. That's the 5th most in the NFL. And then the last wide receiver that I want to highlight here is Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders, priced at $5,800 in a matchup against the New York Giants, where we would need 23.2 DraftKings points for him to hit 4x value. And since week 6, this Giants defense has used man coverage at the league's highest rate, about 47% of the time, and ranked 26th overall in defensive pass DVOA. And McLaurin has been very solid versus man coverage this year, seeing a 23% target share, 38% air yard share, and a 26% first read share. Plus, being that this is a divisional game and how important it is to the Washington Commanders, I think they pepper McLaurin, their number 1 target. And I got just one tight end that I'm going to highlight here today. I did highlight Trey McBride earlier, and I did talk about a couple of tight ends in my cash plays video yesterday, so make sure you go check that out if you haven't watched it yet. But I'm going to highlight Dalton Kincaid here on the tournament side of things, priced at $4,900 for the Buffalo Bills against the New York Jets, where we would need 19.6 DraftKings points for him to hit 4x value. Now, since week 7, the numbers have been good for Kincaid. 21% target share, 22% first read share, and he's now hit 15 plus DraftKings points in 4 straight games. Plus, if there's one area this Jets defense struggles, it's against the tight end. They've allowed 17 DraftKings points per game to that position, the 4th most in the NFL. And then we're going to wrap things up here with a couple of defenses. Again, talked some cheaper options in my cash plays video yesterday, but I don't mind spending up here in the 3K range for my tournament defenses. First being the Cleveland Browns here, priced at $3,700. Divisional matchup and an important one at home here against the Steelers, where we would need 14.8 DraftKings points for them to hit 4x value. Now, that's a bigger number for a defense for sure, but this defense here for the Browns has been on fire in terms of racking up fantasy scoring lately. In their last 4 games, they've had 5, 15, 16, and 23 DraftKings points, and during that stretch, they forced 11 turnovers, they've had 15 sacks, and scored 2 touchdowns. And then arguably my favorite defense play this week is the Miami Dolphins, priced at $3,200 at home in a good matchup matchup against the Raiders, facing a rookie quarterback in Aiden O'Connell, where we would need 12.8 DraftKings points for them to meet 4x value. And ever since Jalen Ramsey has been back, this Dolphins defense has kept teams in check. Small sample size, just 2 games, but that first game back for him held the Patriots to just 17 points and 218 total yards. But more impressively, they went on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs, held them to just 15 points and 267 total yards. So yeah, again, considering the matchup at home now against this rookie quarterback, I'll absolutely be rostering them. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great weekend here, folks. Let's win some money on this Week 11 main slate. And in the meantime, I'm out of here.